You just leave all that to me. The first years will be crying and laughing from happiness and shock. The second years and Kyoto students will cry with them, and someone will choke up and vomit! And in the end, it'll even solve global warming! Cool! So cool!
What?
Hello, welcome to It All. I know you've missed us and our videos, and we're really sorry we took such a long gap, but what can I say? Life threw a few curveballs our way, and let's not talk about it. We're alive. We're kicking.
I'm fine.
Yeah. And we're back with another video. So, I love television. I tolerate science, but what I find absolutely hilarious is science in television shows. So today we're gonna react to one of the most popular anime series out right now called Jujutsu Kaisen. Jujutsu Kaisen revolves around a school of Jujutsu sorcerers who use their power to defeat evil monsters called curses. The characters you'll see in this video are Satoru Gojo, a sorcerer and a teacher who's seriously OP dude, Jogo, a curse, and these two dudes. Their names aren't important. Spoiler info. There's no serious spoilers in this video that will ruin your watching experience if you haven't seen it yet. But the show released a year ago, so can you really expect people to not spoil it? With that out of the way, let's move on and see if the sorcerers can do science.
What's going on here?
In simple terms, you missed me.
Impossible. I felt the contact just now. I touched you, and not only that, I killed you.
No, what you actually touched was the infinity existing between you
Oh,
and me.
Infinity by Matty sensing that
Here,
gameplay.
I'll show you.
I don't sense hostility or trickery.
See?
I can't touch him. I can stop just short of him. Is this infinity?
Not exactly stopped. But the closer you get, the slower you go.
Okay, so Gojo has the power of making Jogo get slower the closer he comes to Gojo. So what happens is Jogo never stops moving, okay? He just keeps getting slower. So you would expect that as long as somebody moves towards you with some positive speed, they should touch you and eventually cross you at some point, right? Nope. And there's some beautiful math behind it involving Convergence Series. Say you start with the number 1 and you add 1 to it. You obviously get 2, right? Now suppose you add 1 to that. You get 3. Now suppose you keep adding the number 1 together. And so you'll get bigger and bigger natural numbers, right? Now suppose you never stop. You just keep adding the number 1 over and over again, infinitely many times. Your sum keeps getting bigger than any number you know of. What we get is a series of numbers that doesn't converge to any number. Now if Jogo starts moving towards Satoru Gojo at the speed of say 1 meter per second, by our calculations he will clearly touch and cross Jogo at some point. Suppose instead that Satoru Gojo's powers make Jogo move in this particular way. In the first second, Jogo covers half the distance between him and Gojo. In the second, he covers half of the distance left, that is, 1/4 of the distance between him and Gojo. In the third second, he covers half of what is left, or 1/8 of the distance, and so on and so on. Clearly, in every second, Jogo moves closer to Gojo. But as long as he keeps covering only half the distance, he can never actually reach Gojo. What we have created is a convergence series of numbers, which is an infinite sequence of numbers that eventually actually add up to a real number. In fact, the series that we've created is half plus 1/4 plus 1/8 and so on. And from the diagram, it should be pretty clear to you that this number actually adds up to the number 1.
When we channel cursed energy, it is a technique that most sorcerers are conscious of doing. My stomach's full of rage, or the blood is boiling in my gut. The theory is that cursed energy extracted from such negative emotions starts in the navel and is channeled throughout the body. They say it flows from the navel to the chest, then to the shoulders, arms, and finally the fists. But this view of the body as individual parts is what delays cursed energy. The idea of channeling cursed energy isn't wrong, but that's only the first step. You can't let yourself remain too trapped by that concept. The better the sorcerer, the harder it is to read the flow of their cursed energy. Yours is hard to read for a different reason. Would you say sorcerers think using their guts?
There's actually some truth to this. Biologists have discovered that our gut and our brain are interconnected, and there's actually a bi-directional link between the two. What this means is that our gut and our brain are in constant communication with each other. Our intestines are lined by billions of microbes of different species. These microbes aren't dangerous to our health, but instead are beneficial as they produce molecules like vitamins and neurotransmitters. If you remember your high school science, you'll know that neurotransmitters are chemicals that the neurons, i.e. brain cells, use to receive and send information throughout the body. The gut bacteria produce neurochemicals like serotonin, usually called the happy hormone, melatonin, aka the sleep hormone, and GABA. These chemicals move through the blood and into the brain and actually influence our mood and our behavior. Not just that, any alteration in the gut microbiota can give rise to chronic conditions like diabetes and high cholesterol. On the other hand, the brain affects our gut microbiota. When our mind perceives stress, it tells the adrenal gland to secrete a hormone called cortisol, which causes inflammation in the body. Gut inflammation affects the function of the intestines and also takes a toll on the bacteria that reside there. It's like a vicious cycle. You're emotionally stressed, which triggers changes in the gut, which changes the bacteria and the neurochemicals they produce. And then the brain gets this information and further fuels these negative emotions.
Infinity exists everywhere. I just use my jujutsu to bring it forward into reality. Convergence, divergence. What do you think happens when one touches this void? Curse technique reversal. Red.
Yeah, I have no idea if any of that makes any sense, but I think I know someone who might.
Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, so I was just watching this video from Jujutsu Kaisen and it seemed like kind of physicsy to me. So can you just check it out?
Okay, so now I'll go watch the video.
Much later.
Yeah, so I just watched the video and it seems like Gojo is using his power of infinity to push the enemy or pull the enemy towards him, right?
Yeah, kind of.
He's using his power of infinity to expand space between them or to contract space between them.
Can we do that?
Well, it depends. To answer this question, I really have to talk about Einstein's theory of relativity first. In high school, you might have heard about how gravity is a force that causes two masses to attract each other. Well, that is why an apple falls to the ground. Einstein proposed that gravity is actually caused by curved spacetime. To understand spacetime, just imagine a trampoline sheet. It is flat at first, but when you put massive objects in it, the trampoline sheet bends, and the bigger the mass or the mass density, the higher the bending. Similarly, masses bend space-time, and that is what we experience as gravity. Now, This bending is given to us by Einstein's equation. This is a scary looking equation, but the most important thing to see here is that all the r's are on one side and the t is on the other. Roughly speaking, r tells you about the geometry of spacetime, the curvature of spacetime, and t tells you how mass and energy is distributed in the spacetime. So now let's go back to Jujutsu Kaisen. The attacks red and blue, they change the curvature of spacetime. Now, if we put it on this side, the geometry that we require, we'll get a mass arrangement that causes this geometry. Now the question is such a mass arrangement possible in real life? And this is actually an open research problem. We call it by the name of warp drive. So warp drives are a way to travel through space-time. What they do is, you take a spaceship and the spaceship deforms space in such a way that it contracts the space ahead of it and expands the space behind of it.
Okay.
So the spaceship can move in its required direction without actually having to move. There are mathematical solutions of the warp drive problem, but we don't know if they are physical yet. That is, we don't know if they can be implemented as of now. But I'll just say that there is something called dark energy which is out there, which causes expansion of space. So once we figure out what dark energy is, we might be able to expand space and maybe one day create a warp drive.
So are you telling me that cursed energy was actually dark energy all along?
Maybe.
Jujutsu Kaisen was a mixed bag in the science department, with some accurate science and some science fiction. We hope you liked this video and maybe learned a little something. If you did, please like and share this video with your friends and family and subscribe to our channel. What TV or movies would you like us to react to next?